Yo, what's up, guys? It's been a while. I know, my bad. But let's get right into it. So, essentially, on the path of being goaded, you're gonna realize that you cannot be a victim. Like, you can't be like a victim in here and be goaded at the same time because it just won't work out. You can't be complaining about your life. You can't be bitching because then you won't move. You're gonna stay stuck like in one place, just talking, talking, talking. Oh, this is going on. This is going on. I can't do it because of this. I can't do it because of that. And that whole time, you literally could be doing something. Like complaining and bitching is doing something. So you really have the choice to either do that or do something productive. And I'm not here to be like some tough guy that's like, oh, push all that to the side and just move forward. Because, we all have feelings and stuff. We all have hearts that, get hurt all the time. Whatever it is, like family, friends, relationships, whatever. But you know, people are gonna be going through hard shit all the time. That's gonna be inevitable, and I will never know the stuff that you're going through. Just like you won't know what I'm going through. But besides like the empathy stuff, it's important to know that within yourself, you really have to ask yourself, could I be doing something else instead of complaining? Could I be moving forward instead of complaining? Could I just be moving, just do anything? One of my biggest inspirations in my life is my dad. And I'll tell you a little story that not everybody knows. I hardly talk about this, but on his 21st birthday, which is the same age that I am now, my dad was shot in the head in a drive-by shooting while he was driving. He was in the car. Random motherfucker pulls up, shoots. I don't know why. Nothing ever happened. No justice. No nothing. I wasn't born yet, obviously. But, he survived. He pulled through and he made almost a perfect recovery. And that genuinely was a miracle. There's no other explanation than it was a miracle, right? So then I come along in 2004. And then when I'm 9 years old, my dad has a stroke related to the bullet fragment that was left in his head. And since then, I haven't had a full conversation with my father. I haven't been able to speak to him. He lost a lot of mobility, physically. And the biggest part of him affected was the speech part of the brain. A lot of cognitive stuff or whatever. So for the majority of my post, teenage years, I had a huge victim mentality, huge on like, well, if my dad was okay, like this and this and this, and my dad was my hero, successful entrepreneur, never worked like a job in his life, always worked on his own account. He had, a tow truck business, investments and this and that, and he bought and sold cars on his own, and it's a great guy to look up to, for sure. And I lost that in fourth grade. I essentially lost it. And the way I see it now is that somebody took that from me. Someone, I don't know who, I don't know why, somebody took my dad from me. And, to this day, literally to this day, today, I'll still crash out about it. I still don't know what to think, who to blame, what to think of myself. Because I more than anything, more than like the financial path that I'm on, following in his footsteps, more than money, more than freedom, more than anything, I would trade all of my shit to speak to him again. And thank God that he's still here with us, right? But on my 21st birthday, he called me to say happy birthday, and he couldn't. He couldn't say those two words because somebody took that from me. But, for the past like year, I've really looked up to him, and it's been my mission to no matter like what like brings me down in life, I always think of him. I always think, God kept my dad here for a reason. He kept him here long enough for him to have me as a kid. He kept him here just enough for me to have a good example to look up to the age of 9. He kept him here so that I can show him what I can do. You know. But for a big part of my life, I spent it being like, oh, why me? Why does this happen to my dad? Like, why, dude? I was mad. I was mad and I was a victim. But I'm saying a lot of this shit. This year has been the year that I've made the most progress, and it's really been flipping the switch that I don't want to be the victim anymore. I don't want to be the victim of anything. I don't want to be the victim of somebody pulling a gun on my dad. I don't want to be the victim of not having all the money I want. I'm not going to be the victim of feeling smaller compared to somebody else. I'm not going to be the victim of anything or anybody. And that all takes just a mentality switch. You can choose to complain and bitch, or you can choose to move forward and do something about it. Like my dad did, like I'm trying to do. So take that with a grain of salt. I know everybody's stories are different. I hope this inspires you a little bit. This is a short one, I think. But yeah, bro, you can do literally anything. And if anybody tells you otherwise, fuck them. They don't matter. And I wish you guys the best. Thank you guys for listening. Good night.